In Qatar, where at least one worker dies per day working to complete its World Cup infrastructure by 2022, workers were bussed in to run a marathon in whatever clothes they had, in order to break a Guinness World Record. A Qatari sports club reportedly brought in migrant workers and forced them to run in a state-sponsored mega marathon in Doha last Friday. Amnesty International says they face rampant and severe exploitation, including physical and sexual abuse, under Qatar's kafala system, which ties migrant workers to their employees regardless of the work entailed. If the worker opts out of doing the work, he or she is often stranded in the country without an exit permit. Workers also frequently forfeit their passports to their employer, leaving them with no way to leave or make money in Qatar. "I'm appalled but not shocked," McGeehan told the Daily Beast. Forcing people to compete in an endurance event should raise eyebrows. The Qatari government has an insidious level of racial discrimination against migrant workers. The event failed to break the record. "It's not the most serious thing that's going on, but it gets precisely to the nub of what's problematic here," said McGeehan. By the time the World Cup stadiums are completed, the International Trade Union Confederation estimates 4,000 migrant workers will have died building infrastructure for the Games. Foreign workers make up 90% of Qatar's population. In northern Kenya, armed terrorists stormed a university on Thursday, killing 147, wounding dozens, and taking hostages during a 15-hour siege until 4 militants were killed by security forces. Christians and converts to Islam seem to be the target. More than 550 students were evacuated and 79 injured in the standoff on the Garissa University campus, about 90 miles from the Somali border. The Somali-based terrorist group Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the attack. Students said the gunmen separated Christians from Muslims and held hostages in a dormitory. Kenyan police offered $220,000 bounty for Muhammad Mahmoud, who they suspect planned the attack. "Most of us were asleep when the incident happened," said Nicholas Natulu, a student at the university. "We heard heavy gunfire and explosions. Every person ran for dear life as we passed the gunmen. Several students were shot. There was nobody to help us at the time of the attack," he said. The police officers took more than an hour to arrive at the scene. President Uhuru Kenyatta urged Kenyans to stay calm. "This is a moment for everyone throughout the country to be vigilant as we continue to confront and defeat our enemies," he said. The Department of Defense has spent $66 billion since 2002 rebuilding Afghanistan, but amazingly, it can't account for $45 billion of that money. The auditing office in charge of overseeing the reconstruction of Afghanistan has asked the Pentagon for a full account of where these funds have been spent. Twice. But the Pentagon told the Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction that doing so simply wasn't feasible. California Governor Jerry Brown ordered the first statewide mandatory water restrictions on Wednesday, directing cities and communities to cut their consumption by 25%. But the order does not require oil producers to cut their usage, nor does it place a temporary halt on the water-intensive practices of hydraulic fracturing. California's oil and gas industry uses more than 2 million gallons of fresh water a day to produce oil through well stimulation practices including fracking, acidizing, and steam injection, according to estimates by environmentalists. The state is expected to release official numbers on the industry's water consumption in the coming days. Governor Brown is forcing ordinary Californians to shoulder the burden of the drought by cutting their personal water use while giving the oil industry a continuing license to break the law and poison our water, said Zach Mallitz of the environmental group Credo. Fracking and toxic injection wells may not be the largest use of water in California, but they are undoubtedly some of the stupidest, he said. The industry has received scrutiny for how it disposes of undrinkable water produced during its oil drilling. Last month, the state ordered the operators of 12 wells to halt injections of water out of fear that it could contaminate fresh drinking water supplies. The glaciers of the Canadian Rockies are set to shrink by 75% in area and 70% in volume by 2100, compared with 2005, according to a study published Monday in the Journal of Natural Geoscience. In 2 of the 3 regions that were studied, the decline could even be more dramatic, with over 90% shrinkage predicted. The loss will hit many sectors, from agriculture, forestry, and tourism, to ecosystems and water quality, the investigators warned. Gary Clark, a professor at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, and the lead author of the study, said the disappearance of glaciers would be a sad loss for those who are touched by the beauty of Canada's mountain landscapes. When the glaciers have gone, we lose the most important services they provide, a buffer against hot and dry spells in the late summer that keeps headwater streams flowing and cool and sustains cool water aquatic species, he added. Even at the lowest projected warming, most of the glaciers are essentially doomed, according to their forecast. Few glaciers will remain in the interior and Rockies region, but maritime glaciers, in particular those in the northwest British Columbia, will survive in a diminished state, the investigators said. In 1903, paleontologist Elmer Riggs concluded that the dinosaur known as Brontosaurus was actually the same as another dinosaur, the Apatosaurus. The Brontosaurus name, which means thunder lizard, hung around for several decades later as the popularly accepted name, but faded away in recent years. New research claims Riggs' conclusion was incorrect. Scientists Emmanuel Chopp, Octavio Mateus, and Roger Benson reviewed 81 specimens of long-necked dinosaurs for 477 anatomical traits. If more than 20% of the traits were different, the researchers put the dinosaurs into their own genus. We were very surprised when we got these results that the Brontosaurus was valid again, Chopp told Wired. The discovery is exciting to those in the research community. The author finds a number of ways in which the original specimens of Brontosaurus and Apatosaurus can be separated from each other, Paul Barrett of London's Natural History Museum told BBC News about the study. Barrett called it the most comprehensive study to date. And now, in a segment I like to call The Scoop, in a segment I like to call Me Talking to You Without a Script, I'm going to talk about pop culture and whatnot, and whatever, because I can. Isn't that fun? Okay. So, here's some news. Wait, let me see. Here, me sitting here, does that work? Or could you, like, position it? See, this is my cameraman, Corin.
Is this the hip zone?
Yeah, this is the hip zone.
I can't tell you're sitting.
Yeah, make it sure I can just tell I'm sitting.
Are you gonna sit cross-legged or something?
Yeah, man. I'm not even supposed to be sitting here, but I am.
Oh my god.
Okay. That's great. The camera works. Okay. So you guys know Game of Thrones, of course. Apparently, like, hackers leaked, like, the first half of the entire season. Some people think that it was because, like, the review copies somehow were, like, because different, like, people do reviews, and then they get, like, chunks of the seasons of shows, so that was released. If you know how to click a magnet button, you can get those. You didn't hear it from me. What else? Star Wars is coming out soon. You better see it. I will be reporting on it when it comes out next year. Even though I won't have this class anymore, I'll still be doing the show. Because that is how I roll. You see, guys? You're in the loop. You're in the scoop now. It's not the loop, because there's already a show called The Loop on the internet. And I can't copy you, Mr. Lieberman. I love your show, though. It's a great show. I'm sure there's also The Scoop, so I can't call it that. I can't, like, have it all ice cream themed. Maybe I could. Maybe I could just make The Scoop.
What about Scoop of the Loop?
The loop of the scoop.
The Scoop Loop?
The Scoop Loop.
The Loop Scoop?
The Loop Scoop. Those all sound gross, man.
The Loop Scoop is awesome.
The Loop
That's the best
Scoop.
name I've come up with.
Yeah, that's what we're calling
The
this.
Loop Scoop.
The Loop Scoop. You heard it here first.
It's the Scoop. So you're in the loop.
You're in the loop because it's a Scoopy Loop. Man, alright, the Loop Scoop. Or is it the Scoop Loop? The Loop Scoop. That's it. The Loop Scoop.
Yeah, the Loop Scoop.
Alright, what else? What else have we got in modern news? Hey, you wanna just, like, go on, like, some website and just tell me what's on there? Probably not. Probably doesn't want to do that.
You know what website?
I don't know, like geek.com or something. That's actually a website. I'm not even joking. What video game news? You don't want to know that. I mean, maybe you do. I don't know who's watching. Nobody is, actually, because nobody's allowed to watch this show. Let's have to re-release it when I'm like 25.
Artificial bee brain used for vision system of the drone.
What? They're making artificial brains and droning with them?
Artificial bee brain.
Artificial bee brains. That's crazy. You heard it here first, bros. And gals. Gal bros. Grows. You guys are grows, okay? That is what you're officially called on the Loop Scoop, okay? You're grows. It's ladies and bros combined. Or gals and bros. Grows. Lows. No, Lowe's is not good. Okay, gross. Oh, also, what I'm supposed to do on here is I'm supposed to sum up my week as part of my shindig, so what did I do? Well, I mean, it's not much of a week because it's Tuesday, but last week, I can't remember. Oh, last week, of course I remember. I remember from a poetry standpoint, we did song lyrics the entire week. It was incredible. You heard it here first. Corin was in that class.
So my one too.
Man, we
You're here first, guys.
you heard it here first. We had so much fun last week in poetry. We just like listened to songs, look up the lyrics. We brought the lyrics in, and we talked about them. Isn't this great? I love this format. What else did I do last week? Well, we talked about evolution in biology, which, as some of you who will ever watch this ever may know, it's my shindig. It's my shang. I love evolution. At times, the language used in class to discuss evolution is slightly infuriating. Not only do some people not know that there's a difference between whale and sharks, but also they're like...
Difference between whale and sharks?
Corin's messing with my delicate sensibilities.
Sorry.
You heard it here first. But like, also like when they're like, oh, it's just a theory, I'm like, yeah, it's a theory. A proven, like, there's like so much scientific evidence, and I'm like, God, you guys. But it's fine. I'm totally fine. To each their own. Everybody on here, if you don't believe in evolution, I absolutely don't agree with you. But you are entitled to that opinion because America. That's why I want to have an autocracy and make everyone believe in it. You heard it here first. That's my thing. You heard it here first. Okay, what else? Yesterday, oh, I need to catch up on yoga, but that will happen. I can do that. I can just do it every day, and then it'll be caught up. What else? Oh, today in poetry, we wrote our own song. Or no, I was the only one who wrote an actual song. I wrote it about hot water, warm water, and how that's really all I need. I could live with the monkeys, you know, over in the hot springs in Japan. And I just like, there's copyright on my song, so I just copyright myself. Arrest me. You heard it here first. Right now is journalism. I'm actively in the class of journalism. You heard it here now. Not even first, now. In the moment. So, and then yesterday I finished editing, because I thought I had finished editing it, but there was some touches, and, no, Laurel Newscast 4, which I may have forgot to upload. So, but there you go. That is my weird week in review, because it's last week of this week, 2 days and a month and a year and a big jangled jungle of jumble gyms. So, yeah. All of those words put together. You heard it here first. Can this be the end of the episode? Can? Oh, man.
You didn't say you heard it here first one more time.
You heard it here first. Guess what? You heard it here first.
Do you just like amuse yourself when you edit?
Huh?
Do you just like to amuse yourself for when you edit?